What's up, guys? My name is The6ixshooter and welcome to my channel. I see a lot of younger basketball players throughout social media that are very curious in the NBA G League tryouts, kind of what to expect, what goes on. And I've actually had an experience. And before I went to my G League tryout, I went on YouTube first thing to see somebody's video that they posted about their experience so I can kind of know what to expect. In this video, I'm gonna kind of let you guys know what they don't tell you about the NBA G League tryouts. But before anything, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It'll really help out the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. And this is just gonna be from my experience from the College Park G League tryout that I went to last year in Atlanta. Other G League tryouts could be different, but from a lot that I've heard from other guys' experience, they all run pretty much the same. And the key points that I'm gonna hit throughout this video is how much do G League tryouts usually cost? What do you do right when you get through the door at a G League tryout? What to kind of expect in terms of in-game playing? What people usually don't tell you about G League tryouts? And would I personally go to another G League tryout in the future? Stick around to the end of this video because you actually won't believe what they don't tell you about NBA G League tryouts. How much do G League tryouts usually cost? They could range anywhere between $200 to $300. The Atlanta one that I went to was $200. I didn't have to pay the $200 when I went because I was invited. And the reason I was invited was because I was signed with an agency right out of college that was trying to push me to go overseas, and they wanted me to try a few G League tryouts. I ended up going to the Atlanta one and I was put on the invited list. But other than that, if you're gonna go to a G League tryout, I would tell you to kind of prepare for anywhere between $200 to $300 for the tryout. What to expect right when you get in the door of a G League tryout. Now, normally you go through registration, and then I got a reversible jersey, says College Park Skyhawks, then has a number on the back. Normally I've seen people say that they've either gotten a jersey and shorts or just a jersey, but I would expect for you to get just a jersey. I was at the Atlanta one. It could vary if you go to a different G League tryout. For this tryout, registration started at 8 a.m. I showed up 30 minutes early because I thought that it would show that I'm like a hardworking guy and I'm ready to go. Doors didn't even open until 8, so I was just chilling outside for 30 minutes in a line. I guess showing up early, I got my jersey a little bit earlier than everybody else because I was first in line for registration. So because I was one of the first people through registration, I got into the gym at 8 and the tryout didn't start until 9. So I basically had from 8 to 9, about an hour to get warmed up, shoot around a little bit because they had the balls already out. But we had to wait for everybody to get there for the tryout. And I thought the tryout really started at 8, tryout started at 9. And they told me to prepare for the tryout to last anywhere between 9 to 1 or 12. So basically 3 to 4 hours for the tryout. Once 9 a.m. rolled around, everybody kind of gathered at center court. The head coach talked to us for a little bit and then they divided us into teams. And I thought, me being a shooter, I wanted to show my shooting right away. I thought we were gonna go through shooting drills, go through all of this different types of like combine stuff. So I could kind of show what I looked like in a drill setting before we played. We didn't do that, so they put us into teams, and then they had one team, so like 5 guys, demonstrate what their offense looked like and what kind of actions they wanted us to run throughout the 10-minute segment games that we were gonna play later on, just so it wasn't just open gym, so we were actually running some kinds of stuff. And then basically we went into layup lines and then we played. And this is what to expect in terms of in-game playing during these kinds of tryouts. Again, this is for the Atlanta one that I went to. This was my personal experience. It could be a little different at different G League teams, but from people that I've talked to, it's kind of similar. Once you get split up into teams, you only play about 4 10-minute games. So if you're really looking to show out, you got to kind of start early because there's going to be subs. There's about 8 people on each team. So in a 10-minute game, some games you might play all 10 minutes. Some games you might play 5 minutes. It kind of depends on how you're playing and how the coach subs. So if you want to leave a good impression, you kind of got to play right from the get. You got to play hard right from the get. You kind of got to be making your shots right from the get. It's a lot of pressure, but if you want to hoop, hoop. And now, this is what you all have been waiting for. This is what people usually don't tell you about G League tryouts. So like I said, 4 10-minute games, but how they split you up into teams, this is normally what people don't tell you. So say there's about 250 people that signed up for this. Again, remember, I said I was invited. There are about 30 people who are invited out of the 250. Keep that in mind. 30 people are invited out of 250 people. So 30 people didn't pay. How they split up the teams is they make about 4 teams out of those 30 people who were invited. If you're not invited, you're not playing with the people who were invited. Everybody else plays on a different court. And I sat next to my coach during one of the times that we were off, and I kind of just wanted to ask him how this all works. So out of the 30 people that are invited, those 30 people's names on his sheet of paper, their names are in green. Everybody else, their names are in red. And out of those 30 people's names who were in green, only about 4 or 5 of them had a star next to their name. And those were kind of who the tryout was really for. So this picture that these teams are trying to paint for you by saying, hey, you can sign up for these G League tryouts and get a fair opportunity to make our G League team, it's kind of not really true. Because out of the 250 people that are there, only 30 of them were invited. And those are the ones that are playing on separate teams. And out of those 30, only 5 have stars next to their name, and the tryout is really only for them. So they're really just trying to get some money out of you. I am not saying that it couldn't happen. There are stories of people who really just go to these and ball out and get an opportunity. But it's just very far-fetched to believe that you could be a guy coming off the street paying the $300 to $200 that you paid to get into this tryout and really make that much of an impression in these G League tryouts. For me, I'm a shooter. I went in and I actually played really well, and I was invited on the court that the coach was really watching. But for me, I wasn't one of the guys that had the star next to their name. For me to get a real chance and a real nod to make this G League team, I would have had to make like 9 threes each game in these 4 10-minute half games to really shake anything up. And this G League tryout wasn't to make the G League team. It was to make the training camp roster for the G League team to try to make the G League team for the regular season. And this tryout was only for about 2 roster spots for the training camp roster. And again, I'm not saying that you couldn't go and completely ball out. I'm just saying kind of how far-fetched it is to think that it could really happen at any given point, because this is from me talking to a coach that was coaching my team. He showed me the list, he showed me the names, he showed me everybody. He's like, yeah, this tryout's really for XXXX. These guys, even the guys in green, aren't getting a fair opportunity. Like I said, I played really well during this G League tryout. I wish I could have filmed. It was a closed tryout, so I couldn't have anybody come and actually film what I looked like when I played. I really wish I had those highlights for you. Sadly, I don't. But all I can kind of say is I played really well. The GM and the coach of the College City Parks team reached out to me before I left. They came and got my information, got my email, said, look, we really like you, so we're gonna hit you up if anything opens up. We're gonna hit you up if with anything that we thought of from this tryout. I didn't get any calls, I didn't get any emails, I didn't get nothing. So they were just doing that out of courtesy to be nice, which is cool, but I'm glad I didn't pay the $250 to $300 that they were asking for. I'm glad that I was invited, at least. So lastly, was it worth it and would I do it again? Honestly, it was a cool experience, but I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't spend $200 to $300 of my own money to go to basically a glorified open gym run for a 0.5% chance of making any noise of making a G League team. So that is what people usually don't tell you about NBA G League tryouts, at least from my experience. Again, you could go to a G League tryout and it could be completely different, but from my experience and from what I've heard from other people, this is usually how they go and this is usually how they run. So if you made it this far in the video, please, please, please hit that subscribe button and please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. And really, this is my first full-length YouTube video, so let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, if you liked it, if this information was something that you liked. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want me to go next. Like, what video do you want to see from me next? I'm an NBA level shooting coach. I've hit over 100 threes in a row. 51 different times now, I had to remember, and the most threes I've ever hit in a row is 193. I am the 6ix Shooter on TikTok. I am the 6ix Shooter on YouTube. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching.
Extra pass, McCoy. Three ball, count it! Brother, oh brother, did we need that one?